All right, we are back, but with a Christmas TBR. I'm going to give you just a few Christmas recommendations. I only have a few because I haven't read a whole lot of Christmas books. I want to this year, though. I have a lot of books I want to read this year in December, but I do have a few books I think that you guys would love. I mean, I love them. They're highly recommended by moi, but I do have a pretty decent Christmas TBR. I actually already read a Christmas book this year, so that's not on my TBR now. That's actually going to be one of the books I'm going to recommend to you guys. Anyways, so let's get started. So for the few books I'm going to recommend, we're going to start off with the book that I just finished like a few days ago, which is My December Darling by Lauren Asher. Okay, she just came out with this fun Christmas holiday novella. Most novellas that I've read are like, I don't know, 100 to like 200 pages. This is like 250 pages. And her books usually go for like 500 pages. I am so sorry if my voice is like cracking. I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, definitely need to read My December Darling. I record on my phone. So I'm going to be reading the descriptions for you guys off of my Kindle. Okay, so this novella takes place in Lake Wisteria, which is, I can't remember the name of her like new series that takes place in Lake Wisteria, but both books in the series, she's only has like 2 books out. The third one comes out soon. But the first 2 books, Love Redesigned and then Love Unwritten, I rated both of those 5 stars. I love this series, but this is a novella that takes place in Lake Wisteria. So, Catalina, which is the FMC. Playing the part of my sister's maid of honor is easy, even if she's marrying my ex. But playing nice with the best man, an impossible task given our history. Sure, Luke Darling may be suspiciously kind, incredibly handsome, and stubborn to a fault. But regardless of how hard he tries to make me see otherwise, I'm not interested. It's on me to remind him that he's my ex-boyfriend's best friend and the one I'm secretly starting to wish I met first. Luke, my job as the best man is a simple one, except for one minor issue. I've spent so much time avoiding my best friend's ex that I didn't consider what could happen if I started craving Catalina Martinez's company instead. She is only in Lake Wisteria for the winter wedding, but her January departure date won't stop me from pursuing her. Getting her to date me would be nothing short of a Christmas miracle, but I'm determined to make her mine. 'Tis the season to fall in love, even if I'm the only one taking the risk. This was such a cute holiday novella by Lauren Asher. She author. I love her so much. The next book I'm going to recommend is The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. So this is actually the second book in a series. I don't remember what the series is called. I don't see it written down here. But it's I believe the first one's called Fix Her Up? The Fix Up? I don't remember, but something like that. Fix Up something. I don't know. But that's the first book. You don't have to read them in order, though. At least I don't think so. You do meet 2 of the characters in the first book in this book. But this was so good. This is a grumpy... I think this is more... Okay, I was going to say this is Grumpy Sunshine. That's not it. This is kind of like Grumpy. Like, enemies to lovers. Grumpy. No, enemies to lovers. She's going to save Christmas just to spite him. Single dad and town manager Noah Yates has always taken his responsibilities seriously, but when a late-season hurricane turns Mary, Connecticut, into a disaster, he's left scrambling to pick up the pieces of the home he loves. That is, until renovation expert and reality TV star Catalina King shows up with a camera crew and a budget big enough to put the town back together. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. The FMC in My December Darling, her name is Catalina as well. It seems like the perfect Christmas gift, but Noah isn't so sure. He doesn't want a celebrity diva capitalizing on their tragedy or filling his daughter's head with visions of glitz and glam. The last time Kat was in town, after all, she caused nothing but trouble. Kat is used to being underestimated, but Noah has an uncanny knack for getting under her skin. They can't be in a room together without rubbing each other the wrong way. Except for that time in a dark alley where the rubbing was just right. Can these enemies work together to pull off a Christmas miracle, or will their fighting leave them both on the naughty list? This was so good. Like, the romance that happened in here, like, the fact that the enemies to lovers aspect of this, I think, is one of my favorite enemies to lovers. I was giggling, kicking my feet. It gave off the best Christmas vibes. I loved it. And also one of my favorite single father romances. Okay, this one I had rated 5 stars. And it actually surprised me with how much I loved this book. That is A Virgin River Christmas by Robin Carr. Yeah, I genuinely did not think I was going to be obsessed with this book, but I am. It was so cute and so good, and a quick read. It's like 300 pages. It's not that long, but it's so good. Last Christmas, Marcy Sullivan said a final goodbye to her husband, Bobby. This Christmas, she wants to find the man who saved his life and gave her 3 more years to love him. Fellow Marine Ian Buchanan dragged Bobby's shattered body onto a medical transport 4 years ago, then disappeared once their unit arrived stateside. Since then, Marcy's letters to Ian have gone unanswered. Marcy tracks Ian to the tiny mountain town of Virgin River and finds a man as wounded emotionally as Bobby was physically. As Marcy pushes her way into his reclusive life, she discovers a sweet soul beneath a rough exterior. Ian doesn't know what to make of the determined young widow who forces him to look into his painful past and the uncertain future. But it is a season of miracles, and maybe, just maybe, it's time to banish the ghost and open his heart. The emotions I felt in this book, I just wasn't expecting. Like, it caught me by surprise. I mean, I was laughing. I was smiling, giggling, I was crying. There were parts in here where I was actually crying. And this is book 4 in the Virgin River series, and I personally don't think that you need to read the first 3 in order to read this. And then this one is one of my all-time favorite Friends to Lovers romances. Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. Oh no. That makes me sad. But another book that I absolutely devoured. This is also, I was gonna say, I think this is the second book. No, this is like the first book in a series. But again, in this series, you don't have to read them in order, but this is the first book, I believe. 2 best friends fake date to reach their holiday happily ever after in this first romantic comedy in the Love Light Farms series. Yeah, see, it's number 1 in the series. A pasture of dead trees, a hostile takeover of the Santa barn by a family of raccoons, and shipments that have mysteriously gone missing. Love Light Farms is not the magical winter wonderland of Stella Bloom's dreams. In an effort to save the Christmas tree farm she's loved since she was a kid, Stella enters a contest with Instagram famous influencer Evelyn St. James. With the added publicity and the $100,000 cash prize, Stella might just be able to save the farm from its financial woes. There's just one problem. To make the farm seem like a romantic destination for the holidays, she lied on her application and said she owns Love Light Farms with her boyfriend. Only there is no boyfriend. Enter best friend Luca Peters. He just stopped by for some hot chocolate and somehow got a farm and a serious girlfriend in the process. But fake dating his best friend might be the best Christmas present he's ever received. So this is best friends to lovers and fake dating. Fake dating is one of my favorite tropes. And this hit the mark. Like, this book, so satisfying, so sweet, and swooning, and giggling, and just all the happy feels, and good Christmas vibes. This is the type of book that will have you kicking your feet. Now on to my Christmas TBR. I have quite a few. So the first book on my Christmas TBR is Christmas at Fox Ridge by Bailey Hannah. So I have read Alive and Wells, I think it's called, which is a cowboy romance series. That was a good book, and this is by Bailey Hannah as well. So I have no doubt that I'm most likely going to love this book. It is a novella too. I don't know how to say the FMC's name. Is it Ira? I'm gonna call her Ira. It's like E-I-R-A. We're calling her Ira. Ira Davies thought a bar napkin sketch of her best friend's handsome brother was harmless fun, until he caught her in the act. One steamy night later, Lucas McKinney was supposed to be nothing more than a fun memory. Fast forward 6 months, and Lucas is desperate to save his struggling ranch. Renting out the spare cabin on his property seems like the perfect solution, until his first guest turns out to be Ira, the woman he hasn't stopped thinking about. A true believer in fate, Lucas can't shake the feeling that the universe has delivered her to his doorstep with a big, shiny bow. As sparks fly and the Christmas lights twinkle, they'll have to figure out if this holiday surprise is just a festive fling or the real deal worth unwrapping for good. I'm really excited to read this. It's also like, Best Friend's Brother. I eat those books up. I can't help it. They are just so good. I just eat them up every time. I love it. So I'm really, really, really excited to read that. Next I want to read is 'Tis the Season for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth. This would be my first Morgan Elizabeth book, and there's another book I want to read by her. I think it's called Passenger Princess, but that's besides the point. That's not Christmas related. But I hear nothing but great things about this author. I believe this is like enemies to lovers, maybe? I'll read you the description, we'll see. Abby Keller thought that Richard Bartholomew Benson III would be her forever. In their 4 years of dating, she never doubted that she wouldn't end up with his grandmother's engagement ring on her finger. Sure, she had to change a few things about herself to fit that mold, like dyeing her hair, dressing more conservatively, and finding golf enjoyable. Honestly, the most difficult of the changes. But she was sure that at the end of it all, it would be worth it. That is, until he leaves her crying outside her apartment wearing a Halloween costume, having broken it off with her because she's just not serious enough. She was just fun, he tells her, and now that Richard has becoming a partner at his law firm in his sights, he needs to focus on work. So she does what every girl does when she's broken up. She calls her friends, gets drunk, dyes her hair, and formulates her plan for revenge. It just so happens that the universe supports her efforts and gives her the perfect match to prove to her ex that he made a huge mistake. His boss. Okay, so it's not enemies to lovers. I see where this is headed. Abby starts dating the founding partner of Richard's law firm, Damian Martinez, with one thing in mind, convincing him to invite her to the huge invite her to the huge annual Christmas party as his date. But when the relationship starts to become something more than casual dating, and Abby sees that the tough New York lawyer has a soft side, will she be able to follow through with her plan of deceit? That sounds so good. Oh my, that just made me even more excited to read this book. So instead of enemies to lovers, I was gonna say it's a workplace romance, but she doesn't work there. Her ex-boyfriend does. So she dates his boss, as one does. And then I want to read Big Nick Energy by the same author, Morgan Elizabeth, as 'Tis the Season for Revenge. This is actually a novella. This is another book. I have no idea what it's about, but I've heard nothing but great things. When Connor Finch insists his one-time Tinder match, Shay, comes to his dad's house for Thanksgiving with their 2 daughters, it's because he refuses to let them be alone on her first holiday post-divorce. But when she arrives at the Christmas tree farm and ranch he grew up on, she meets his father, the crazy, tall, built golden retriever cowboy who tells her girls all about the magic of the stupid elf on a shelf. Of course, when she later corners him and tells him thanks a lot for nothing and that she's way too overwhelmed to have to deal with yet another responsibility, he feels terrible. So terrible, he finds himself driving 2 hours every night just to deliver an elf, move him about, and create some Christmas magic for her girls. But what happens when he decides meeting her the way he did was some kind of Christmas miracle, and he needs to convince Shay to give him a shot? Okay, so it's not like a boyfriend's dad thing, because she is not necessarily together with her Tinder match. He's just a Tinder match. But it is with his dad. These are some good picks, okay? Like, I have got basically all of these recommendations off of Instagram or YouTube. Some of them I did get from, like, some booktubers, but most of them I got from Instagram, and they are, like, killing it with it. Okay, so while searching up my next Christmas book on here, I'm so upset about this, guys. I had paused the video so I can look it up on my Kindle so I can read you the description. I didn't unpause the video. So I did all that reading, all that talking, and I wasn't even recording. Let's start that over. Okay, so the next book I want to read is The Plight Before Christmas by Kate Stewart. She is the author of the Ravenhood trilogy. I haven't read that series, but I heard it's amazing. I heard she's an amazing author, and I saw that she wrote a Christmas book. Now let's read the description again. And since the last 3 weeks of my life have been riddled with humbug, another breakup, a broken toe, an office promotion I deserved and didn't get, I'm not at all in the mood to celebrate nor have the happiest Christmas ever. When Mom insisted that we all gather at my grandparents' ancient cabin for an old school family Christmas, I fully intended to get into the holiday spirit with the help of the 3 wise men, Johnny Walker, Jack Daniels, and Jim Beam. But those boys did absolutely nothing to offset the shock or temper the sting of seeing my ex on our doorstep the first day of our holiday soiree. Apparently Santa missed the memo and this elf is pissed. Stuck for a week with the man who obliterated my heart nearly 2 decades ago, I did the only thing I could do and put on my game face, thankful for the home advantage. I knew better than to drink that last cup of eggnog. I knew better than to get tongue-tangled beneath the mistletoe with the only man to ever break my heart. I knew better than to sleep with Satan's wingman on the eve of the Lord's birthday. I could blame the nog. I could blame the deceitful light blue eyes, thick angelic hair, and panty-evaporating smirk. But mostly, I blame Eli because he always knew exactly which of my buttons to push. I foolishly thought a family Christmas filled with nostalgia was going to turn my inner Scrooge around. But this year's festivities went up in flames. Leave it to the ghost of my Christmas past to be the one to light the match. I'm so excited for this. Reading all these descriptions, I just want to read all these books at once. Because now, what do I start with? Okay, what do I start with? And then I want to read My Favorite Holiday by Lauren Blakely. This recently just came out, and I am so excited for this. The sexy single dad desperately needs a +1 at a Christmas Eve wedding, where he's the best man and I'm the maid of honor. And since my ex is in the wedding party too, my boss and I team up as a pair of Insta lovebirds for the holiday season, including during the annual week-long Christmas competition leading up to the snowy destination wedding. But soon, staying up late to string the best popcorn balls ever turns into a scorching night in his arms where the chestnuts aren't the only thing roasting on the open fire. Can all these winter wonderland nights seeking revenge turn into the real thing when we return to the office, or are we destined to go the way of a Christmas tree on New Year's? Yes! Oh, so it's an office romance. Love that. I love a good work romance. And of course, billionaire. I mean, who doesn't love a good billionaire romance? I read a lot of those. Oh, okay, so this is the only physical Christmas book that I have, and I plan on starting it today. But that is How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. This would actually be my first Megan Quinn book, and I am so excited for this. It sounds so good. And I love, okay, so they have a little blurb right here that I'm going to read you because I love it. Every Crinkle in Kringle Town celebrated Christmas a lot, but Cole Black on Whistler Lane unfortunately did not. Love that. As his fellow citizens decorate their quaint town, brimming with carols and glad tidings, Cole wants nothing more than to hibernate the winter away, but his dreary plans are thwarted when his Christmas nemesis, Story Taylor, first of all, I love that name. I find that really cute. Moves in next door to care for her Aunt Cindy. Immediately, the new neighbor turns his life into a real nightmare before Christmas, especially when she decides to enter the town Christmas Kringle contest in honor of Cindy. And better yet, Story is determined to win. Over Cole's dead body she will. With help from his friend Max, Cole decides to enter the competition as well, to beat Story at her own game by pretending that this hometown grump's heart has grown 3 sizes this season. And he's fallen for the girl next door, and unfortunately for Story, she has to follow his lead to have a chance at the Christmas Kringle title. But the competition isn't the only thing that heats up. Cole and Story's fake relationship becomes very real. And before they know it, they're attempting to hide it from Aunt Cindy. Things get complicated, the competition gets tough, and all it takes is one single night for someone to steal it all. His nemesis. So enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers. Love that. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm starting this today. Or tonight. Whenever I can read. Okay, so this next one, a lot of people don't like. So I'm a little nervous to read it, but I still want to read it. Like, I'm going to determine for myself if I like it. And that is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. 2 weeks before Christmas and all through Manhattan, shop windows are decorated in red and green satin. Stella is standing alone outside a famous department store when a charming man asks her opinion on the decor. It's a tragedy intentional, she says, unable to lie. Then he asks for a better idea with a twinkle in his eye. She didn't know he owned the place when he put her on the spot, and now she's working for that man, trying to ignore that he's hot. But as a down-on-her-luck girl with a difficult past, Stella knows how to make a good opportunity last. So she gives it her all, working without stopping, trying to resist temptation because she's just window shopping. Okay, but I love that synopsis. It doesn't really give you much, if I'm being honest, but I love the idea of what they just did with that. So, I am excited to read it, but I am a little nervous. I'm hoping I like it. Okay, one more book on my Christmas TBR. The Christmas List by Maren Moore. I actually just heard about this on Instagram today, and then immediately added it to my TBR. I love Christmas, so much so that in my small town, I'm known as the Queen of Christmas, and no one knows holiday festivities quite like Strawberry Hollow. Oh, I love that name, Strawberry Hollow. That's cute. Only this Christmas season delivers an unexpected twist in the form of Wyatt Owens, the handsome single father of my new student, who just so happens to also be my first love, one who broke my heart all those years ago. I haven't seen Wyatt since he left our hometown behind, but a piece of my heart has always been his. And all those old feelings come rushing back the moment we see each other again. Only now the boy I once loved is a charming, delicious, and intoxicating man, one I'm not sure I can resist. Especially when neither of us can deny his daughter Lucy's holiday wish for the three of us to compete together as a team in Strawberry Hollow's annual Christmas list tradition. At first, he's determined to win every festive challenge on the list, but the more things we check off, the more it seems like he wants to win me instead. Soon things are heating up between us, and suddenly I find myself at risk of falling for my ex. But I'm not sure I could survive the heartbreak of losing him again. Is this just a holiday fling, or is this the second chance I've always secretly hoped for? Okay, that sounds like it actually kind of might be a little sad. But it's second chance. Again, I haven't read a whole lot of second chances, but I know I definitely want to read this one. I'm excited. I've said I'm excited about like every single book I've mentioned on this list. But it's the truth. I am so excited. All right, so those are all the books that I want to read this holiday season. And let me know down in the comments what is on your Christmas TBR. I would love to know, and maybe I'll add it to my Christmas TBR. So I hope you guys liked this video, and I will see you in my next one.